I am Abha Jadhav, school principal and parenting coach. The time investment strategies that I learned from Brigadier Sushil Bhasin in his time management and goal setting course have helped me immensely. I have been able to create my 25th hour. I will strongly recommend all ambitious people to take this course. Thank you. Hello, namaskar, adab, sasyakal, kasakay, kem cho, kedo wala hai. I'm Abha Jadhav. Welcome you all once again. Your favorite talk show, Spotlight with Abha, in collaboration with Radio Brainrine. गुरु गोविंद दो नो खड़े काके लागू पाए बलिहारी गुरी आपनो गोविंद दियो बताए. Friends, today's episode is extremely special to me. Today, I'm going to reveal the secret of my energy, the powerhouse resource behind my energy. Yes, today I have gotten a golden opportunity to bring in my inspiration, my mentor, my guru, Brigadier Sushil Bhasin into the spotlight. Welcome, sir, to Spotlight with Abha.
Thank you, Abba. Thank you. I feel so honored. I feel so grateful to you, to God, to give me mentees like you. You have been certainly one of my most preferred students for the simple reason that out of 62 teachers in Tapti Valley School, where I first met you, right from day one, I could see that you were special. You were taking everything down. You were wanting to learn. And I remember the goal setting work session that we did for you. You were the first one to achieve your goals on time. And there, of course, the journey has been long since then, but it's always very, very good, where people look for mentors. Let me tell you, mentors also look for beautiful, wonderful mentees. And you've been one of them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That is always a blessing for me. Whenever you speak such words for me, I feel one more blessing adding to my account. Friends, before we proceed further, let me introduce sir. I think it will be just like putting a torch in front of sun. But still, I want to give a brief introduction of my guru. Brigadier Sushil Bhasin is a TEDx and keynote speaker, a master corporate trainer for leadership, self-development, time management, time investment strategies, goal setting, and author of 6 books. He is well known for the stories he shares both from his military as well as corporate experience that inspires the audience. To know more about my mentor, let us hear him in his own words. Sir, how did you move up towards being an educator from Army and then towards becoming a renowned international speaker, trainer, coach?
Wow. Abba, I have been an illiterate guy. I never went to college. From my 10th class exam, and I didn't even appear for a university exam, which used to be metric those days. I had appeared for my ISC exam, 11th class exam, and the results were yet to come when I joined NDA based on the Scenic School local 10th class exam. So that's been my idea of education. So I've never been to college. So from many people's angle, I'm a illiterate guy. So I went to NDA, and the first time I got a degree was when I did staff college, and they presented me with, of course, we did a dissertation and we were attached to Madras University. So I got my MSc in Defense Studies, and that was my first proper degree. Okay, till then I was a illiterate guy or not gone to college. And Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw was our chief guest. And when he gave us our, at our convocation, and when he gave us our parchments, you know what he said? He said, today I must congratulate all of you for having equaled and rarely surpassed your wife's degree, because every one of us in the army had wives who were more qualified than us, because we were from the NDA. We didn't have any degrees to us. Coming to the main thing, that I was asked to be the chairman of an army school in Bareilly. And there's a long story which I can't really take up your time on that. And it is available on YouTube, 22 minutes video on what made me leave a bright career in the army, because I just fell in love with children. I was the chairman of army school, and the school was I was told that the school is not a good shape. And I just, got that little touch of, where your heart gets affected by one little sentence. When my boss said that there are 2,000 children in the school and there is no direction, there's no principal for the last 2 years. 5 principals have come and gone. So she'll do something. These people's career is at stake. My daughter that time was in college. My son was in 12th class. And I said to myself, it was just 5 minutes of journey from my office to home. And the conversation I had in my mind with God was, God, I've got 2 children and I'm so concerned about their career. How can I have 2,000 children's career neglected when I'm the chairman? I reached home and I told my wife, I said, I don't know what I'll do about my office. I've got 5 officers. I'll delegate. I will work at night, but I'm going to get after the school. And then I became the first and probably the only chairman in the history who was there in school every day. Otherwise, chairmen only come to the school to cut ribbons or to inaugurate things and all. I was there every day from about 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And I used to sit in the principal's office, and I told the officiating principal, who was a physics PGT, I said, you go and do your work. I'm already getting complaints because he was teaching 10th and 12th class board exams in physics. And because of his work in the office, his classes were getting affected. And that was affecting the education of children. So I said, no, I'll handle that. And you can do your very essential work where you only have to sign in the evening. I'll see all your dark, I'll take your decisions, I'll do it for you. And that is the way I came out of the army, because I felt that I've done enough for the country, 34 years. Now it was my time to do something for the youth. And Abba, from that day till today, through parents, parenting workshops, teachers training, principals training, I have been able to impact the lives of more than 30,000 children. I've done 160 principals trainings. I've done more than 4,000 teachers, and I've done about 30,000 students. So now it gives me immense satisfaction that I came out with a purpose and I have achieved it.
That's truly commendable, sir. Salute to you. When you talk about decision making, how you help that principal in making decisions. Even I am being a school principal. Many a times I feel lost. I am not able to take decisions. There are so many things, so many confusions are there in front of me, and I feel which direction to go. So, how if any person in my situation should go for this?
See, firstly, you must find a mentor or a coach for you in that particular field. So let me tell you, I found there was a vice principal of a army school in Lucknow. Her name is Indu Mathur. And I found her to be, I just met her and I really felt that she was very, uh, very strong in her educational background, and she was a very humble person. And whenever I used to get into anything, I used to just call her and say, Indu, what would you do in my place? And I would take advice from her. That is one. Second thing is, whenever we get stuck in decision making, remember one thing: a wrong decision is better than a no decision. You can't keep pending. Decisions must be taken in the time frame that a decision is required to be taken. I am not advocating a hurried decision, but I'm also saying that too much of analysis leads to paralysis. You can't keep decisions pending for too long. So therefore, you should give it. There are matrices. That means your templates that you can say. Ask yourself these 4 questions. If I do this, what will happen? If I do this, what will not happen? So basically, we are scared of the consequences of the decisions we make. Let's see that when you are going to make a decision, am I able to face those consequences or not? And can you do something about it? Okay. For example, should I give leave to this person or not? I found one day my principal fumbling over that should I give leave to this teacher or not? Decision. Arey, what will happen? If you give the leave, what will happen? So she thought that nobody will be there to do her work. And if you don't give leave, what will happen? She'll get demoralized, her work will not be done, etc., etc. Look at both pros and cons and say, okay, let her go on leave, I'll manage it. Take the consequences, somebody will manage. Find some teacher who can take on the job. And so, the principals don't have nuclear decisions to make. They don't have such macro decisions. They are day-to-day decisions. And I think make a decision, be aware of the possible consequences and be prepared for the consequences. Work out your options for the consequences. Okay. And that's the way.
Very truly said, sir, that we need to take at least one imperfect step to move towards perfection. Coming,
Absolutely.
yeah, you are a time investment strategist. So the basic thing, what common people, they are stuck at procrastination. They are not able to manage the 24 hours in proper way. So how a common person, no doubt, who are already following, us, mentors and all, they are having all these things, but how a common person should get out of procrastination?
A very good question. I think all of us at some stage are into the habit of procrastination. And first of all, uh, let me define and clarify what is procrastination. Procrastination is when you put off something because one, you're not in a mood to do it. Secondly, you find this complicated and you're putting it off, putting it under the carpet, hoping things will become okay, right? And then you regret and you have a guilt that, oh, that was important and I didn't do it. So there is no other way than to keep telling yourself that I need to handle this first. And when you feel that there's something important to be done and you are putting it off, do a simple thing of counting 5. Just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and start doing it. It has to be a self-discipline drill. And there's no other way about it. There's no outside person who's going to tell you how to overcome procrastination. In fact, I've done a complete episode in my Zindagi Unplugged, which is a podcast I do on Spotify. And there's one complete session on procrastination, various aspects of it. But here I just want to say, it is your self-realization. You should know what cost you pay for procrastination. You know that if something is not done today, it's going to add up. If today is looking difficult, after 1 week, it'll be even more difficult. And just tell yourself, let me do it. I said, count 5 and start doing it. What will happen is, one is that your work will get done. The second is that you will get immense satisfaction and your self-image goes up when you say, oh, I've done it. And people who procrastinate will agree that most of the time there was just a mental block to start that work. And when you started, you found you did it in 10 minutes. It was only the starting that was a problem. So learn to start. That is why they say count 5 and start. And even if you can't complete it, At least you will get the feel that it is surmountable. I can do it. So you'll get self-confidence, you will get self-image and self-worth coming up. And I think it's a very, very simple thing to do, but it takes a little bit of practice. It takes absolutely self-discipline. And self-discipline is the main root of what I do in a lot of my workshops, to teach people how to get in the habit of self-discipline.
Very well said, sir. During these complete lockdown period, you have, I think, created a kind of record by continuous taking one after the another these mastermind classes, uh, webinar. I won't say, but they were actually master classes. They were action labs, and you prepare lot many trainers, you lot a lot many crisis premierships, and I am one of them who has also attended your digital training workshop, and you have actually contributed immensely in transforming their lives. So can you just elaborate what is all this digital training about?
See, the point is, you have to go by the flow. So, what was working for me, let's say 20 years back, or 10 years back, or even 5 months back, may not work now. So, if you are not keeping your antenna out, and if you are not seeing how the environment is changing, and you're going to continue your way, you're certainly not going to be able to make any headway. I've always been giving this example, and you have heard me say that before, that today you're taking selfies only because you have a smartphone. But could you have taken selfies with a Nokia 1100? Obviously not. So can I produce the results that are required today with the capabilities I had yesterday? I have to upgrade, like I upgraded from Nokia 1100 to a smartphone now. I have to upgrade my capabilities. And today we are talking about webinars, we are talking about online training. And our people who did my TTST in 2016, they will remember that in 2016, there was one complete day of something which I called IWT, Integrated Holistic Training. And in that, I used to spend 1 hour in talking about online webinars. I was talking about webinars, and that time we didn't know Zoom. So we were talking about GoToMeeting and all those things. Zoom came somewhere in my life in 2017. Okay. But 2016, I used to be talking about GoToWebinar, Webinars Jam, and things like that, and tell them that you need to be prepared to be sitting in front of your computer and taking classes, because that will be the world that is coming through. It was foreseen, it was to come. Only COVID has made it, we have been thrown about 5 years ahead of time. And see, when वो कहते हैं ना, जब मुसीबत आती है, when the floods have come, then you have to learn swimming. Just because the floods came, people had never heard of Zoom. Senior citizens who never went to banks started doing net banking, because earlier they didn't need to. It was I know of somebody who said, when there's an old man, a friend of mine, whose grandson said, Dadaji, why are you going to the bank? Why you can sit at home and do it? He says, but when I sit at home, I don't get the pleasure of going and meeting 10 people. I go and meet the bank people. For them, it was socializing. For them, it was a different type of environment, and they wanted to go and give this form to somebody, and then they were liking all that. But today, they had to do it. So therefore, they learned. And there's a bank in America which reported that 70% of the senior citizen customers they had, who had never used net banking, in these just 3 months of lockdown in USA, had started using net banking. So people have used Zoom for birthday meetings, for prayer meetings. I had a friend who lost his wife, and there was a prayer meeting. I think it was so beautifully conducted on Zoom, and there were people from all over India, about 300 people were attending that. It was so beautifully done. I don't think those 300 people could have ever attended a real prayer meeting. So, so there are a lot of good things that have happened, and I feel that you need to be you. So when I'm talking about digital, I'm talking about getting onto online comfort. Uh, Now, whether you like it or not, this stage of yours is a 16 by 9 inches stage. Learn to use it well. And when God gives you lemon, enjoy that lemonade. Now you can't say orange juice is very good. You don't have oranges now. So learn how to use the lemon and enjoy the lemonade. And I'm doing it.
In fact, we are doing, in extraordinary, shaped things. So hats off to your efforts, what you are putting after uh, creating trainers and coaches and helping transforming our lives. Sir, there are a lot many things which I need to talk, but as you know that every program has some time limitations. So
I
we
know.
are coming towards the end of our program. But before we depart, I want you to give one solid message to my viewers and listeners of this program.
One solid message. Now, what could that be? I want to say that if you look ahead in life, uh, robotics and uh, artificial intelligence are going to do a lot of play a very very important role in our lives, and 67% of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 5 6 years. The statistics were that in 10 years time they will not be there. 3 years are already gone since that announcement was, or that uh, till that discovery was made or that idea came out. And now COVID has made us even go faster in time. I feel that all of us, and particularly when it comes to teaching our children and our students, tell them that there are three things which are very important as of today, three skills that you must look at, and they are innovation, creativity, and imagination. These are the three skills that will still make you possibly prepare for an unknown world, because the types of jobs you will do are not even known today. Like, for example, 20 years back, probably nobody could have said, I want to be a software engineer. That term was not known, it was not there, it didn't exist. Similarly, after 5 years, 10 years, what jobs are going to exist, we don't even know. But these three skills, if acquired now, will make your transition to that work very, very easy. And therefore, futuristic, hashtag futuristic. Please start thinking futuristic. I use a term which some people understand and some people don't. I say operate ahead of the predictability curve. And what is predictability curve? Today we have the advantage of having a lot of data. And when you have data, you also have data analyzing tools. And the data that is available with the analyzing tools can also give you trends. For example, if you say that if the pollution goes on at this stage, or you say if the traffic density goes on at this stage, then in 5 years' time, there'll be no parking space available in Mumbai or Delhi. So that is a way you use data to predict the future. And if you all good leaders operate at that area where you whatever is your predictability curve, and you say that, okay, I know that in 3 years this is going to happen, then your mind starts working on what will you do at that junction after 3 years. So if we operate at an area ahead of the predictability curve, we are more futuristic in our thinking. We'll be able to combat the circumstances and ride ride the time wave instead of the time wave riding us. That means move ahead in time and be there to greet it than to be following behind. Don't respond, be proactive. Instead of reactive, be proactive. That is the one message I like to give to everyone.
Fantastic, very well said, sir. And I'm definitely 100% sure that my viewers, after this episode, they will definitely find themselves in already a transition mode. The moment they will start listening to you, they will themselves start transforming themselves. And of course, if they will keep listening to you, they are going to change their lives. So thank you very much for your valuable time, sir. From your busy schedule, you have given me this half an hour. I am extremely, extremely overwhelmed for that. Before we end up this episode, I have some important announcement to do. Friends, you can watch episodes of Spotlight with Abha on my YouTube channel, Abha Jada. Do subscribe my channel and don't forget to hit the bell button. Also, you can listen my episodes on Radio Brain Grind, which is being broadcasted in more than 14 countries all over the world. Also, you can hear this episode by downloading the application of Brain Grind from Google Play Store. Once again, thank you very much, sir. With this, we take leave now, and I promise we'll meet you again with one more successful personality. Till then, stay safe, take very good care of yourself. Bye bye. Namaste.